Awful lead. Would you have it any other way? We're going to throw 3 bug bites, transfer the Incendiary onto Kingdra, where it is double resisted. The opponent stays in, looking for some chip and nip action. Kingdra going to invest that Protect Shield, blocking up the Shadow Ball. The opponent then enters the mirror behind on energy. Jamie Finn going to go for the world's most skillful debuff, farm to the Outrage, throw the Octazooka, force Protect Shield. There's the debuff. The opponent looks to the Dragon Breath farm down, and we actually Dragon Breath farm them down. Back out comes Skeledirge and Kingdra putting in so much work. Welcome back to the channel. Yesterday we ran Scolipede in the Summer Cup and I learned 2 things. Firstly, Scolipede is horrendous, don't power 1 up. And secondly, the combination of Cradily and Tentacruel is absolutely busted. Yesterday I was essentially able to get wins just because of how broken both Tentacruel and Cradily are. I essentially ran 2 Pokemon versus 3 and still more or less had an alright day. I think we lost about 50 elo. Then it got me thinking, I don't want to keep running this boring basic meta. How can I beat it? There is one Pokemon that destroys both of them handily, and that is XL Shadow Forretress. Because of how common fire types are in this meta, I've literally seen about 1 Forretress the entire week because it is very high risk, high reward. I thought, how can I team build around Forretress? Then it dawned upon me, be basic, run Steel, Double Dragon, and we headed to battle. I'll be honest, I've ran so much nonsense this season, but this team was absolutely cracked. Despite that, we gained 177 elo, starting at 2,240, finished on 2417, and ended up on like 30 points away from the leaderboards. Just tells you all you need to know. With all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, our target has been acquired. Oh, hello, Tentacruel. Nice to see you nice. The opponent sends out Cradily, recognise they're completely core broken, and we're off to a very quick 1-0 start. In the next battle, things aren't looking so great. We see Skeledirge in the lead position. We say switch into Kingdra. I will be respecting a potential Shadow Ball. The opponent falls from the Shadow Ball and then send out Virizion. This isn't actually too bad for Kingdra. Despite being a water type, our dragon subtyping means we only take neutral from grass, 1 leaf blade, easily survivable, already down 1 protect shield. We're not risking any nonsense baiting. We are full sending the outrage, guaranteeing big damage or our protect shield back. The opponent obliges, putting up that protect shield. Kingdra has done its job and we're going to elect to let it go down. One good thing about running Forretress as opposed to Scolipede, when you see stuff like Skeledirge, you're not completely walled. You can hit back for super effective with both of my charge moves. The opponent actually YOLO a close combat here. Holy, I did not expect that. We are in 1 Incinerate range. I'm actually going to bank this move, pivot into Drampa and see what the opponent wants to do. Game state has been horrendous recently. Honestly, I don't know what's happened since the forced update. But let's try not to focus on that. Out comes Greninja. We fire off the Fly. Fly is less energy efficient, but does do more damage. The reason I went for that is I anticipate the opponent looking to save their final Protect Shield for Skeledirge. I attempt the Dragon Breath farm down, unfortunately unable to get it before the Night Slash is reached. Drampa going to invest that Protect Shield. Leaving with residual energy, back out comes Skeledirge. We're going to fire off the Fly. Fly should be forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. I'm going to wait for the Incinerate to start and then look to snipe. The opponent actually dumped their energy, and that's going to be game over. We've got the Rock Tomb bank. We've got the Earthquake bank. We're going to throw the Earthquake, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, Forretress into Jellicent. Not a particularly great lead for us. 2 better responses in the back. So we're once again going to say switch into Kingdra and see what the opponent's best Dragon type counter is. Again, the Kingdra say switch goes unanswered, so I'm going to invest the Protect Shield, blocking up the potential Shadow Ball. I think that's a safe shield, to be honest. I think you'd be a raving lunatic to go for a double resisted Surf Bait there. As we invest the Protect Shield, full send the Outrage, guarantee your shield back, or just look to remove this Jellicent from the field of play. The opponent match Protect Shields, fire off the Shadow Ball. Kingdra withstands the damage, going to reach the departing Octazooka. Despite this being resisted, he'll come quite close to knocking out the opponent 2-shield Jellicent, and that is more than fine for me. Drampa has a really unique typing. It's normal and dragon, meaning we're going to double resist the ghost damage and also single resist the surf as well. They've also got double debuff by the Octazooka. Surf does absolutely nothing. Drampa commits the Dragon Breath farm down. If the opponent didn't have a great dragon type counter, they are in for a rough time. But out comes Virizion. We land the Fly. This is double super effective. Virizion straight in and straight out. Get that Virizion off my screen, and out comes Skeledirge. Drampa continuing to Dragon Breath away. This is likely a Torch Song bait, but I've got a sneaky feeling that no bait is ever going to save this opponent's fate. Drampa over farms, fires off the first Fly. Fly does monstrous damage. We're then going to farm up, make the catch, back onto Forretress. Was it necessary? Not particularly, but we like to make pointless catches, so I think it's entertaining. Torch Song picks up the 1-hit KO. We Dragon Breath farm down and take that game. In the next battle, once again catching a fire type in the lead position, we're going to throw a few bug bites, transfer the Incinerate onto Kingdra where it is double resisted. The opponent enters the mirror behind an energy. We're just going for the Octazooka, fishing for that 50-50 debuff chance like the absolute degenerate I am. We're able to get the debuff. The opponent tried to Dragon Breath farm me down. Trainer. No. We obtain ourselves shield advantage and flip switch, and just like that, we find ourselves from a rough spot into a completely commanding position. If you are going to run Drampa, one thing you need to know is this thing is hella glassy. We do fully wall Typhlosion, but trust me, we don't really wall anything as that thing is so bloody glassy. It's got like a 175 attack, even higher than Typhlosion. We got a huge amount of lag, but thankfully we're still able to make the catch back onto Forretress. What is going on with my move as well? Why is the Rock Tomb so enormous? It's like the game's telling me this one is the super effective one. Thanks game, I'm aware of typings. On a more serious note, of course, I'm not actually throwing anything, I'm just committing to fast moves. The reason for that is I want to farm them down as opposed to concede farm to Typhlosion. Like this, we're going to be able to outpace to the back-to-back charge moves. The opponent recognise the game's over and they are going to concede the match. GG's that opponent. Heading into the next battle, yet another fire type in the lead position. Keep them coming, Double Dragon does not care. The opponent sends out Executor. Holy, that's some spice. I think the opponent can't shield here, because if they shield, we're going to Dragon Breath farm them down before they Dragon Tail farm us down. Oh boy, the opponent find himself in an absolute shambolic position. Back out comes Skeledirge. Kingdra still not done. Going to reach the Octazooka. And that actually looks like CMP. Oof. That's rough for the opponent. I'm now starting to get queue times with this team. So if you want to see me get absolutely clapped with Executor, post it down below and that sounds like a great idea. Speaking of getting clapped, this isn't the Summer Cup. I queued into the wrong league like an absolute potato. I thought, oh man, should I top left? I thought, nah, let's play it out. We're trying to go 5-0 in the set. We fire off the Wild Charge, forcing the opponent's first protection. The opponent makes a very nice catch. Catching the Wild Charge onto Landorus. I'm going to pivot out into Dragonite. Switch takes a turn, so I should actually outpace by a single turn to the Dragon Claw. Okay, apparently I don't, but whatever. We'll just sack Dragonite. Don't want to see Zacian anyway. I'm just going to send out Gyarados, go for the Dragon Tail farm down. Most Zacian, I'm not already play Master League, I believe, are on Close Combat. And is it called Behemoth Blade? Whatever that Hail Mary nuke is. With that in mind, I should fully wall whatever they throw. It looks like the opponent here got 1 turn bring in. How is that CMP? 3 turn into 2 turn. Ouch. That didn't look resisted whatsoever. We fire off the Aqua Tail. And it is zone time. Let's go zone. In Magna Zone, I believe. I'm going to respect the potential Close Combat, as I don't fancy being straight in and straight out. Huge Protect Shield deployed, and out comes Palkia. We get a huge amount of lag, but Magna Zone undeterred. Gonna full send. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? Wild Charge, monstrous damage. The opponent fucked about. They found out. Magna Zone gonna fire off the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot forced the final Protect Shield, even debuff. Magna Zone able to Volt Switch farm down, leaving with the Mirror Shot. And despite running my season 21 MLP team, we're able to take that game. What an absolute potato, managing to queue into the wrong league. In the next battle, we see Bellibolt in the lead position. I remember this battle, and I think this is one of the strangest battles I've played all season. I think I play it quite strange as well. I never bait. I'm going to build up to the Earthquake, throw the Rock Tomb, thinking Bellibolt use, essentially shield everything. And of course, this is why I don't bait. The opponent call it like a savage. We then pivot into Kingdra. Out comes Skeledirge. Of course, this isn't a great counter swap whatsoever. We're able to reach the Octazooka, winning the charge attack priority. Octazooka lands, and at this point they're only reaching 1 move, so I think you may as well shield the Shadow Ball. They go for the Torch Song. I do not understand the logic. Why would you Torch Song there? You're only reaching 1 move. Super frustrating to shield up a double resisted move, but logically it's a safe shield. They're only reaching 1 move. Why would you not throw the neutral one as opposed to double resisted one? Out comes Lapras. Of course, if we've got the Octazooka debuff here, they'd never be able to reset this. It is their final Pokemon, but I full send the Outrage, forcing the Protect Shield. We then pivot into Forretress, just looking to force some energy. I think that's a bit of a bad play as well. I think I should have just stayed in with Kingdra. I didn't really want to concede a farm down. This now gets very dicey. I think I'm going to need a catch to win this battle. If the opponent's on Ice Beam, they are certainly going to one-shot my dragon. I am going to respect a potential Ice Beam. Oh man, they are an Ice Beam as well. The Dragon Breath started to tear through Lapras. We're going to need a catch. However, it's going to be quite difficult and I need to stall the timer out. We fire off the first Swift, fire off the next Swift. The opponent now very close to the energy for the Ice Beam. We're going to throw 3 Dragon Breaths. Look to make the catch. Oof. Holy, I'm very grateful the opponent was spamming that Ice Beam. We're able to make the catch. Back onto Kingdra, Dragon Breath farm down, and just about escape with a dub. Heading into the next battle, we found ourselves a problem, and its name is Shadow Magnezone, but very cool spice from the opponent. Here I'm not even baiting. Magnezone's already getting torn apart by the Bug Bites, so the Rock Tomb will certainly command a Protect Shield. We then farm up, look to catch a potential Mirror Shot bait onto Kingdra. Please be baiting. Ouch. There's a one-stage debuffed Wild Charge that only hits for neutral. The opponent at that time try their luck with the Mirror Shot, thinking the next Wild Charge would knock out, but we hold strong, look to call the bait, and out comes Lapras. Unfortunately, we're only able to reach an Octazooka. Octazooka this time doesn't get the debuff, but we have got some decent chip damage off on the opponent, to be honest. I'm going to send out Forretress. I don't really know where to use my shield here, to be honest. We're going to tank the first Sparkling Aria. The opponent is going to be able to outpace to the second Sparkling Aria, and I think I'm just going to put all my hopes and dreams on Drampa, looking to 1v3. Drampa hits the field of play, and out comes Cradily. I think that was a bad call on my part. I definitely should have threw the fly before the opponent debuffed me. However, I think I kind of already knew that the writing was on the wall for me. I haven't seen Drampa into Cradily. You can see fly hits for neutral, and despite not getting stabbed, it does some alright damage. I'm kind of obliged to shield this move up. We're going to try and Dragon Breath farm down. If we're able to get the Dragon Breath farm down, we might still have a chance in this game. Have the opponent able to withstand the Dragon Breath, and they're going to give me that bad manners grass knot to the face. I don't hate it, to be honest. Fair play to the opponent. You've got me, buddy. GG's. Looking to bounce back to winning ways, and we find ourselves a very tough lead. I always throw a few Bug Bites here, giving me a small amount of energy, and then transfer the Incinerate onto Kingdra is double resisted. Again, the opponent stays in, looking some chip in action. I am going to respect a potential Shadow Ball. We correctly shoot a Shadow Ball, and the opponent enters the mirror behind an energy. Farms the Outrage, be a degenerate, throw the Octazooka, and pray for that skillful debuff. All my praying to the RNG gods comes in clutch. We get the debuff, force a Protect Shield, and are able to take back switch, back out. Comes Skeledirge, and Kingdra absolutely popping off. Of course, for those of you that aren't well versed in sarcasm, there was literally no skill in that mid-game matchup whatsoever. Just some luck, or potentially RNG if you prefer. I send out Drampa, call the opponent isn't running Disarming Voice. They are not. They fire off the Shadow Ball, and despite hard losing lead with Tentacruel on the back, we now have the correct alignment. This is such a commanding matchup. You can really see the difference in the resisted one-turn Bug Bites as opposed to double resisted acids. The opponent's got no shields, of course. We're going to full send the Earthquake, but I do undercharge here, not wanting to concede a farm down against the returning Skeledirge and potentially finding my own lose con. The undercharge looks like a good one. Potentially we're going to be able to fully Bug Bite farm down and even reach a Rock Tomb at the returning Skeledirge. We probably die to one Incinerate, so I'm going to transfer it back onto Drampa, fire off the fly, and that is going to be all she wrote with yet another win against a fire type lead. GG's. Heading into the next battle, we see Tentacruel in the lead position. The opponent's opting to stay in, as this is likely going to be Tentacruel Cradily core, and if that's the case, Forretress just completely cooks this team. The opponent's also running Poison Sting. I'm going to say it. I know Henry said that Poison Sting's better. It isn't. So Poison Sting generates 0.5 more energy, but does 1 less damage per turn. I don't understand why people think Poison Sting's better. We're able to catch this gold onto Kingdra, and we look to bait out that Cradily. We know he's lurking in the back. We do exactly that, and Cradily hits the field of play. The opponent likely throw the Rock Tomb. Both moves are neutral. Grass Knot would do more. However, the opponent, of course, want to debuff me. That's fine. We're just going to full send the Outrage. We don't need to go for any silly debuffs. We just want to guarantee big damage. We're able to land the damage. The opponent able to acid farm us down. But in return, we can just Bug Bite farm them down. We get denied coming in because why not? Game state horrendous. Rock Tomb isn't lethal. The opponent then pivots out into Zapdos. We send out Drampa, and this is just going to be a tap-tap fast move beatdown to the finish. We've still got 2 shields, and you better believe I'm going to start investing them here. The opponent throw the Drill Peck, recognise they're going to die to quick moves, and they concede the match. Heading into the next battle, we see Oranguru in the lead position, a commanding lead for Forretress. The opponent sends out Tentacruel, so they're completely core broken. A Tentacruel is somewhat problematic for my backline. Some do run Blizzard, that of course Drampa would get one-shot by. A Sludge Wave actually almost one-shots the squishy Drampa too. I'm going to force myself a shield advantage here, and then send out Kingdra. The opponent obliges, putting up that Protect Shield. Again, we just guarantee the damage or that shield. A Rock Tomb wouldn't really done much for me there. This opponent's on Acid Spray. Again, not the right move. Why are you Acid Spraying? I think if you're running Poison Jab, because it does the most damage, Acid Spray kind of makes sense. The opponent sends out Oranguru. I think this is a mistake. I go for the Octazooka, fishing for the debuff, thinking if I can debuff them, I'm just going to be able to fully bug bite farm them down. But in reality, my luck finally runs out, and that was a very poor play on my part. We're going to tank the Brutal Swing, Forretress now. Going to be forced to dump a Rock Tomb. If I would have actually threw the Outrage, I would have got the bug bite farm down. So don't be a potato. Do as I say and not as I do. I pivot out into Drampa, and out comes Gastrodon. The opponent doesn't even build up to the Earth Power, and they don't need to. This thing is hella glassy, and even a Body Slam needs to be respected. The opponent then pivots out into Tentacruel. I need to knock this thing out before they very annoyingly debuff me with the Acid Spray. Swift goes unshielded, removing Tentacruel from the field of play, and Drampa is starting to rapidly run out of HP. I am going to shield up the incoming Body Slam. After this, I'm going to farm up very close to the double Swift. We're going to throw one, we're then going to bank one and pivot into Forretress. If we catch, we catch. If we don't, it doesn't really matter because the opponent's going to try and Mud Slap farm me down. But the Bug Bites have put them in a range where the Swift will be lethal. We're going to be able to win the charge attack priority and take that game. I'll be honest, not particularly well played, but we managed to get over the line. GG's to that opponent. We've been seeing non-stop Fairies the last few days, so it kind of makes sense this RPS Slug's going to start making an appearance. I am going to respect the potential Earth Power Body Slam. It would be double resisted. I think the opponent once again be a Raving Lunatic to throw that. You can see here we're getting a huge amount of lag. We end up conceding a free Mud Slap, which is super bloody annoying. I do want to say Forretress is on an ABB team, so I'm going to catch the Earth Power onto Kingdra, and ouch, there's a lot of damage. The opponent then sends out Decidueye. Decidueye actually looks to dump energy, and this is more or less perfect for me. The opponent does have Brave Bird, but it's quite expensive. Potentially, we can fully Dragon Breath farm them down and only have to tank a Frenzy Plant in the process on our Drampa. Drampa's typing is really, really nice, especially in a cup that all the elements are allowed. Your Dragon typing resists that, and your normal typing resists the Ghost type damage. You can see that Frenzy Plant certainly didn't look resisted. We are able to Dragon Breath farm down, but we lost almost all our HP. Back out comes Gastrodon. We're going to fire off the Swift. Swift from this range will be moving them from the field of play. Down goes Gastrodon. The opponent sends out Victory Bell. We're going to fire off the Fly. Fly forces the opponent's final protection. We pivot into Forretress. Forretress, a complete wall to this energy. It's actually double resisted the Leaf Blade. Double resisted the Sludge Bomb. We land the Rock Tomb, a Bug Bite farm down, and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see another trainer of culture running Drampa. I can't believe this thing isn't more common. I actually think it's such a good core breaker in this meta. But you can see the flip side of it. These Bug Bites are tearing through their HP. The opponent fire off the Fly. There's a lot of neutral damage. I'm going to fire off the Rock Tomb and look to move Drampa from the field of play. Down goes Drampa. The opponent sends out Decidueye. Here I was hoping to reach the Rock Tomb. I don't want to pivot out as of course I do want the correct alignment. Getting Drampa on this where the Astonishes are double resisted. Unfortunately we don't reach the Rock Tomb. We've seen Frenzy Plant does around half my health, so I'm willing to invest one Protect Shield. Looking to keep some health. The opponent then sends out Tentacruel. I'm going to bank a boatload of energy and send out Kingdra to operate as the damage sponge. Hopefully this is another opponent running Acid Spray instead of the correct move of Sludge Wave, but this opponent is running the correct move and that Sludge Wave does a lot of damage. As anyone else said, this glitch is super annoying because of all the lag. The shield comes up and you end up accidentally tapping the shield when you're just going for a quick move. What is going on with this game? Thankfully I don't accidentally shield. The opponent fire off the Skull, we fire off the Octazooka, forcing a Protect Shield. They've shown Sludge Wave, so I'm going to respect this. It's potentially the hardest hitting move in the game. We get baited with the Skull, the opponent not wanting to concede a farm down, send out the Decidueye, but this is GG's. We're going to be able to outpace to the back-to-back Flies. The opponent looks to call the bait as that is their win con. We're able to Dragon Breath farm down Tentacruel and take that game. Heading into the next battle, we see Shadow and Shadow Crime with Forretress into Swampert. I think the opponent's going to fire off a Hydro Cannon just before we reach the Earthquake. We look to catch the Hydro Cannon onto Kingdra. The opponent farms the Earthquake. I was thinking this is definitely a Hydro Cannon. Oof, that Earthquake almost one-hit KOs. The opponent then snipe with their own Drampa. That's a nice snipe. I'm not sure that's a great play on the opponent's part as they're now going to be switch-locked against Forretress. We've not seen how much a Rock Tomb does. I anticipate it almost one-hit KOing. I'm going to fire off this Rock Tomb before the opponent potentially reach a Fly. It looks like the opponent isn't even going to reach a Fly. This is just a Swift, and Swift is resisted damage. I'm hoping that Drampa can close the show. We pivot out into Drampa and Typhlosion hits the field of play. We're going to farm up, fire off the Swift. Swift should be forcing the opponent's first Protect Shield, and it does exactly that. If the opponent farms the Blast Burn, which they do, I am going to be respecting it. Blast Burn would do a lot. The opponent bait me with the Thunder Punch. I think this is quite risky. I actually throw this move at winning charge attack priority. If the opponent took the extra there, we could have been a spot of bother. The opponent probably thought Typhlosion won this charge attack priority, but it does not. I'm going to invest the Protect Shield, once again getting baited with the Thunder Punch. The opponent look to reach another move. They don't get that. They get Dragon Breath farm down. Swampert re-enters the arena and the opponent concedes the match. In the next battle, we see Gelatin in the lead position. So as always, say switch into Kingdra and see what the opponent wants to do. A lot of Gelatin seem to stay in. I'm looking for some chip-in action. I am going to respect the potential Shadow Ball. And even if the opponent pivots out now, they'll give me a huge energy lead. The opponent does pivot out. And we are full sending. Come on, trainer. It's just an Octazooka, I promise. Just an Octazooka. Boo. Everyone Octazookas. When I full send, everyone shields. So I guess that's why everyone's a degenerate and just fires off Octazookas. We don't even reach the Octazooka. The opponent able to fully Fury Cutter farm me down. I'm just going to send out Gliscopod and attempt to fully Bug Bite farm this down. The opponent likely makes 2 Aqua Jets, but 2 are survivable. It is going to leave us low. But it is what it is. We're going to have energy good to go. The opponent reached the second Aqua Tail, then pivot out aggressively into Jellicent, and we have such a hard check in the form of our Drampa. Surf, single resisted, Shadow Ball, double resisted. So in this matchup, we actually want to throw Surf. Surf not only does more damage, it's cheaper and overall more energy efficient. Drampa's pretty much never seen in the Go Battle League, so I think people just don't know its typing. Everyone seems to Shadow Ball it, and that definitely is the incorrect play. We're able to fully Dragon Breath farm down, leaving with residual energy, good to go. We need to be mindful Gliscopod can be used as a swap. The opponent goes for the show and go. We can just send out Forretress. We're able to snipe Gliscopod's remaining HP and now permanently debuff this Cradily. And the tough thing for the opponent is they are never ever acid farm me down. The opponent recognised that, look to dump energy, and this is game over. Rock Tomb will remove me from the field of play. We've got like 100 energy on Drampa, 1 Dragon Breath and the first Fly. Fly hits for neutral and a lot of neutral damage at that. 1 further Dragon Breath and the next Fly, and Drampa is on cleanup duty. GG's and thanks for playing. Heading into the final battle of today's video, I can 100% recommend this team. It's not too often I showcase a team that I think is actually good, but this is certainly one of them. We see Galvantula in the lead position. This is almost certainly going to be the rise to occasion ABA Electric team. That Belly Bolt could provide me somewhat of a problem. The opponent fire off the discharge, then send out Kingdra. I'm going to debuff with the Rock Tomb and then enter the Mirror. I'm just going to go for the 1 shield and farm down. The opponent likely throw an Octazooka, but better to be safe than sorry. 2 we get baited. The opponent actually full send there, which is very nice for me, meaning we aren't now debuffed. Back out comes Galvantula. We're going to fire off the Octazooka. Octazooka force the Protect Shield, and I think here I should always shield. I'm actually going to trust in Drampa with his type advantage matchup into Belly Bolt, but that might be a mistake as we are so bloody glassy. I think there I should just shield him, then fired off the Octazooka, looking to permanently debuff this Belly Bolt. We're going to trust in Drampa, as of course we do resist electric, but look how much this Parabolic Charge does. Ouch. As soon as I saw it land, I thought I've instantly made a mistake. Even the Sucker Punches are tearing through my HP. We fire off the Swift, force the Protect Shield. I've still got a shield to hide behind, but where do I use it? I am going to shield this up. The opponent's now double debuffed on defense. We need to be mindful that Galvantula can be used as a potential third shield. We're going to fire off this Swift, and I'm just getting Sucker Punch farm down, so I need to pivot. We send out Forretress. Forretress tries to Bug Bite farm down. The Bug Bite farm down, unsuccessful. Can we Dragon Breath farm down, leaving with the Swift? We're able to farm down. Can we reach the Swift? We die with the move. Very close game. 1 turn of difference, and that has cost me a 5-0. I think in hindsight, I definitely should have shielded up the move from Galvantula. But it is what it is. I haven't used Drampa before, and that was definitely user error as opposed to team error. And that is just about going to wrap things up for today's Shoutcast. This team is so good in the current meta. I personally think it's probably the strongest team you can run. If you've got access to all 3 of these Pokemon, head to battle and you are in for a good time. I was able to gain 177 ELO, finishing on 2,417. Which is pretty close to leaderboard range quite early in the season. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.